Bernice, Yanagi, Grace, Jane Doe, Piper, and now the long-awaited Miyabi. Now that's a whole lot of anomaly. Right now, if you look under your chair, you will find an anomaly character. You get anomaly, and you get anomaly, and you get anomaly. But no, why does it seem like we're getting an anomaly character after anomaly character after anomaly character? Well, the reason why is because they are our S-rank limited characters that are coming out as we go. And it's so early in the game that it feels like, man, like what is this constant anomaly train? You know what I mean? We've already had some attack characters from early on, so there are more attackers in the game, but we already had Nekomata, we already had Korin, we already had Billy, we already had Anton. So, we already had Soldier 11 as well. So the only two people to come out were Ether? Yes, Ether Joe. No, we had GUN and we had Alan. Those were our two S-rank attack characters, right? So ones that are traditional DPSs who want crit rate and crit damage. And I will say something, all these anomaly characters have definitely made it very easy to build because you just want anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery. You don't got to worry about crit. So it has been a nice building experience of just kind of having your build done and then moving on. But here's the thing about Anomaly in itself. Anomaly, the class, doesn't really have a strong identity, right? There are some key things and some key words you can apply to Anomaly characters, but even all of those things can be applied to anyone, right? Those things would be disorder, disorder, shock, burn, assault, right? All those things can be done by anybody. But what you can give anomaly characters is the fact that they do those things the best. So that's the identity that they would have, right? They're gonna proc the assaults quickly and they're gonna do a lot of damage when they do it, right? They're gonna proc the burns quickly and they're gonna do a lot of damage when they do it, right? Disorder is gonna happen a lot frequently with someone like Yanagi, you know what I mean? So if anything, that's their identity, but it's not exactly specific to anomaly as the general term. So I feel like because they don't really have a clear identity, therefore they can be whatever they want to be. So perhaps it's like they feel very free with anomaly, right? And maybe that's why Miyabi will also be anomaly too, because they said, well, we can make her an attack character, but wouldn't it be even more interesting, like more cool if we made her an attack character who can also disorder or can also do something anomaly based, right? So that'd be cool to kind of have that mixture in there where it's like, just because I'm anomaly doesn't mean I have to build anomaly proficiency. I can also do something different. And as we saw with someone like Caesar, she's a whole defense unit that scales off of impact. So it's like a semi-stunner and defense character at the same time. So perhaps classes in Triple Z are not so pigeonholed into I am a shield, or I am an attacker, or I am a supporter. Like, they can be those things, but have a slightly different role, or kind of a mixture of both. And also, Anomaly works pretty well together, right? Like, if you take a look at Yanagi's additional ability, it's not even about her being in the same squad. It's actually about if someone else is Anomaly or shares the same attribute. So, it doesn't even have the same faction bonus. Like, I think almost everybody else has that and Yanagi doesn't. She just wants another anomaly character. So I'd say maybe besides Yanagi and Jane Doe, they kind of fight for field time. So those two I wouldn't say, but other anomaly characters work pretty well together. Bernice can make a lot of teams. You can make a lot of teams around Jane, make a lot of teams around Yanagi, Piper, you know what I mean? So they feel really free with it. Basically though, I will say we are getting a lot of anomaly. That is the truth. And with due time, it will spread out. So let's go back to July 4th, 2024, right? Let's look back at 1.0 all the way up to now and see which characters released in which order, which attribute came out, and which class came out. So obviously to open up the game, it was Alan Joe, our Ice traditional DPS, crit rate, crit damage. Seems very rare to say now because we haven't had it in so long. But yeah, technically we did have Anton, we had Billy, we had Korin, we had other characters that you could play that did scale off crit rate, crit damage, Nekomata as well. So they were all there. They were there. But in terms of S ranks, this was our very first one. It was Ellen Jo. Could be a myriad of reasons why you didn't pull for her or why you did pull for her. You could have been like, oh, she's the first character, so get power crept in no time, so I'm going to skip. Or you didn't like her design, or, you know, whatever it may be. Or you probably just didn't think there wasn't going to be another traditional DPS like so far away, right? You probably thought, oh yeah, there'll be more DPSs to choose from. There will be, of course. But at the time, you probably didn't think it was going to be an anomaly fest for the next like 2 or 3 patches. We are still in version 1.0. This was the second half of that banner. It was GUN. So GUN was out and it was like, oh, this is different. You know, a gun like ranged DPS, but also traditional as well. Crit rate, crit damage. And also, who knew she'd be Ether, and she'd be one of the only Ether characters for a very long time. And at this point, we don't even have information on who the next one's going to be. So we still don't even have any Ether characters. And it's not a necessity for you to have Ether to clear stuff, but it's just like, man, where's the Ether at, you know? And like I said, all this will be irrelevant down the line. We'll have so many characters, this will be completely just irrelevant. Version 1.1, we were introduced to Ching-Yi. Ching-Yi was an electric stunner S rank, and she synergized perfectly well with GUN. So it's kind of like a cash grab of like, you know, 2 characters back to back who synergized together, you know. So Ching-Yi was somebody who I think a lot of people actually skipped because they were using Ambi or they already had somebody else to use. So I kind of felt like, you know, I don't really need the flashy stunner. I could just work with my Ambi. But either way, that was our stunner. Don't forget Ching-Yi. She was our electric stunner. Gave us a little bit more of a elemental coverage. So we had, you know, somebody who was electric that you could use that was S rank. On the second half of that same banner with Ching-Yi, we had Unknown. No match found. No, we had Jane Doe. She was our first physical S rank DPS. That was not a DPS, but a anomaly DPS. And it was kind of like an interesting occurrence because someone like myself got so used to Piper and it was like, yo, this is actually really satisfying. Spin, 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 spin. And then like, you know, you build up that little circle and then you see like a boom, big number, right? And basically Jane just kind of took that to the next level. And it was like, oh shoot, you know? So it was a cool occurrence, right? Still love Piper, but it was cool to see Jane come out and do that stuff. But this was the first of the anomaly bunch. And with that, that was the end of version 1.1. This is version 1.2. So 1.2's opener was Caesar. She was our first physical and our first physical and defense S rank character. So that was actually kind of like a this will be interesting. Like, and you know how we kind of feel about defense if you play previous high Everest games. You kind of look at it like, ooh, you know what I mean? Defense, right? So now we're in version 1.2 and we're on the second half after Caesar. So not after Jane, but right after Caesar. The whole Sons of Caledon era, right? We had our first fire anomaly S rank character, Bernice. So fantastic demo, right? We all remember that. And this is when Anomaly was still kind of like, oh, another Anomaly after Jane? Okay, this can work pretty well with Jane. But nobody was really on the, man, oh, this Anomaly, what's going on? You know, they weren't really on that yet. It was more so just like, oh, she can work well with Jane, right? Now for version 1.3, that's when we started to go, okay, all right, what's going on? Like, you know, all right. After Bernice, right back to back, it was another Anomaly unit. So this was Yanagi, Tsukishiro Yanagi, first electric Anomaly unit. And it was just like, okay, all right. Like, we didn't really have too much of an idea what she was going to do yet, but we just saw she was Anomaly. We were like, what? Right? This was like the start of that. So, and what I realized what was weird was we were getting Yanagi first and not lighter, despite the whole Sons of Caledon arc happening the last patch. But yeah, that's when it kind of got like, all right, getting that Anomaly, it's a lot of Anomaly, right? And then after this one, lighter. Now lighter is a fire stunner. So we did have Anomaly back to back, right? So we had Jane, Bernice, Yanagi. So, and in between that was Caesar. But now we have somebody else in between as well, who is going to be a stunner. People wanted him to be an attacker. I'm not going to lie. I kind of did too, but it's all right though. You know, he's a stunner. So that kind of changed my viewpoint on him, but still. Fire stunner. And then now we saw that Harumasa was drip marketed. And keep in mind, he's an attacker. So there you go. You know, assuming he'll be the crit rate, crit damage style, he's an attacker. We are assuming he'll be a sub DPS, but there you go. There's an electric attacker, more elemental coverage. Although it is right after Yanagi. But yeah, so there you go. There's gonna break the anomaly train. It already broke with lighter, but now we're having that extended break where it's, you know, at least 2 characters in between. And what I've also realized too is the entire Section 6 crew, aside from Sakaku, actually works all well together, because Miyabi is anomaly, so Yanagi's little additional ability will still work with her. But I don't know if they'll work together or not, but at least the additional ability will. I also don't even know if Haramasa is first. I don't know. He was drip marketed first, but I don't know what Triple Z is going to do. I don't know. And then of course we have Miyabi, right? So she is also anomaly, but she's going to be a little bit different, I've heard. It's not double element, so no, not to kill your hopes and dreams, but yes, it's not double element. It's just ice with like an extra feature to it or something. But that's going to be another anomaly character, but I don't think it's going to be your traditional anomaly character. So I think you can kind of have hope for something newish, something different, something unique with her. So at least there's that. But I will say, my personal opinion, personal want, and personal hope, after Miyabi, I'm really excited because I hope we can start to get in different directions, you know, do some different things after that. I know Miyabi will be different as an anomaly character, but I'm really hoping for something different past this. You know, Miyabi's gonna be cool, I'm sure of it, I'm excited, but I'm more excited to see what happens after her release, because that's when we get to the meat and potatoes of, you know, what the future of the game is going to hold, what the other characters are going to do, what a 5-star support's going to look like besides Rina, right? What more 5-star defense units will look like, what 5-star, you know, more attackers will look like. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I also don't know if Void Hunter is like the equivalent of like a very special kind of unit, you know, the, you know, Aeon, or like, you know, not Aeon, but Emanator, or some kind of I also don't know if the Void Hunters are gonna end up being some kind of like Archon equivalent, or if they'll just have that symbol but they're still just a normal character. Don't know, but you guys know. You guys look at the leaks, so you guys will know stuff. But a quick comparison to something like Honkai Star Rail. If you're not familiar with Honkai Star Rail, it has paths very similar to classes, right? Zila, she was a hunt character to open up the game. But we had Jing Yuan, who was an erudition character. So we had Quantum, Lightning, Nihility, Quantum, Abundance, Imaginary, Destruction, Wind, Nihility, Lightning, Destruction, Imaginary, and Preservation. So yeah, you can definitely kind of see the comparison of like, we are getting a lot of the same characters in Triple Z, like in comparison. You know, we've had, I think, a different path all the way up until Kafka. So yeah, and at 1.3, new path here, and then our first rerun actually there. So maybe I'm not looking at patterns here. I don't want to just assume this is going to be the same as Triple Z, but I had a first rerun as one rerun in phase 2, 1.4. Oh, look at this, an ice character in 1.4. Interesting. But yeah, just to do a little comparison there. 2 different games, 4 different characters, and I think more paths as well. More paths, and then we have classes. Well, you guys are correct though. There are certainly a lot of anomaly characters coming out, but I think the breakpoint will be Miyabi. If we get another anomaly character after Miyabi, like right after Miyabi, listen, come back to this video and put a comment down. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be, I'd be shocked if we get another anomaly character after Miyabi, like right after. If it's after, but it's like one character in between, that's whatever. But yeah, they must be cooking something. That's all I can say. They got to be trying to cook something, all this anomaly. But that'll be all for me. What are your thoughts on all the anomaly characters? You think it's good? You think it's bad? You think it's just kind of like, you know, building their characters or their teams? But we'll see. I'll see you guys in a couple other videos coming up. I'll see you guys on stream, and I will catch you guys in the next one.